Greetings and welcome to the 1/6 Scale Man proudly presents a special episode of The Corner. And I figured that tonight we'll do something special just to kind of prep and get people ready for tomorrow night. You know what it is. Disney Plus was gracious enough, and Lucasfilms was gracious enough to kind of move the schedule up. So people get a chance to see it early and they don't have to get up early in the morning to watch it, depending on where you are, or stay up late to watch it. You can enjoy it. So this is what we are going to actually do. But again, I am honored to have two of the finest on tonight. We have two ladies that are basically representing tonight and are here eager to talk about Ahsoka. We're going to have this conversation again. It is Ahsoka night. If you don't already know, we're going to have that conversation. But yes, let me introduce this incredible panel that we actually have with us this evening. We have the amazing Nilda from Appetite for Collectibles. How are you today?
What's up? What's up?
Oh, so glad to have you. And I see both of you have the helmets. See, I don't have mine. I got to represent with the t-shirts, so I don't have mine. So you know how it is. But definitely thank you for being here tonight. It's going to be a great conversation. What you feeling? You excited for tomorrow?
Dude, I've been so excited. You know me. Like, I met Rosario.
Yeah.
I've been ever since day one. Like, I've been waiting for this basically my whole entire life.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited about it. I'm so glad. And I'm happy for Dave Filoni. Definitely he gets a chance to bring his baby to life. So I'm definitely excited about that. So thank you for being here. Victoria, how are you? So glad to see you here this evening as well. I reached out. You said, yes, I'm with it. Let's go. So excited. How excited are you for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's good to see you, Nilda. Be with you guys this evening.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited. Any opportunity to talk Star Wars, I'm there. So good to be here. I am stoked for tomorrow night. It's cool that it's a day earlier, so now I can actually, watch it, get home, just think about that. Like,
yeah, right.
I'm stoked.
You get to come home, see it earlier than you. I was so excited when they did the time change because I was like, all right, let me just figure out what I'm going to do. Once I get done with my clients tomorrow night, I was like, I'm just going to go to bed at 9 o'clock, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, watch. But then when they said they were moving it back, I was like, okay, cool. I don't have to do that. I can just clear my client slate and say, you know what, I'm leaving early and just do what I got to do. So I'm so excited about that. So thank you guys for being here. It's going to be a great conversation tonight. Talk about everything that we know about Ahsoka and just get people prepared. And, hopefully, by the end of the show, people will be more excited about it. Let's see what we actually have there in the chat. We got Bendu Windu in the building. Thank you for being here. What's up, peep? Almost game time. You already know it is. Definitely it is. We have Mary Sullivan Ladies Night right on. That's what I'm talking about. You already know what time it is. We got MB Dyson. Greetings all. I know it's Ahsoka, but I'm more excited for Ray Stevens. Yeah, RIP. Definitely Ray Stevens. I cannot wait. To basically see his betrayal of Balin, and I know he's going to kill it. But yes, definitely rest in peace to Ray Stevenson. I had a chance to meet him at Star Wars Celebration in London, and to see, basically how excited he is about this, season of Ahsoka, and it's so sad to see that he's gone before, but I know his memory will live on, and we'll see that through this show. So I'm definitely excited about that. We got Blazing Asian in the building. Thank you for being here. We got Karen Kelly. Nerd Corner is in the building. Thank you for being here. My bro, Docinators in the building. Thank you for being here. We got Darth Plato in the building. We got Dustin Sabrant is in the building. Thank you for being here. Collectible Chats. We got Brick Artemis in the building. Let's go. Definitely let's go. You already know what it is. Louis Labitz is here with us as well. We got the great Renz Talentino in the building as well. We got Calvin Wycliffe is in the building. Thank you for being here. So yes, everybody, MB Dyson, Blazing Asian, Yes, we got so many in here and they are ready to go. So again, it's all things aside. It's like let's go back first. Let's talk about live action Ahsoka in The Mandalorian. And the thing is, we had heard rumors about it, from season 2. They were talking about how, it was going to be an appearance. Rosario Dawson hadn't said a word. She didn't say anything. Yeah, what I mean, nothing was actually said. And I remember, when people saw like the trailer and they saw the silhouette of Mercedes as
Oscar Reeves.
Oscar Reeves, people thought that that was Ahsoka. And they was like, oh, is she playing Ahsoka? No. So again, when we got a chance to see that episode of the Jedi, and they didn't hold back, they just bam, they gave us right off the back. As soon as you saw on screen, you were like mesmerized. It was like, wow, I cannot believe they've done it. And Rosario looks so well in the role. And then thinking back to, it's crazy because when I lived in Sydney, Australia, we used to, and this was years ago, we used to hear about this guy, Boss Logic. And I had been following him from the very beginning. And I remember when he created that fan casting for Rosario Dawson and how he was like, yo, this would be cool. And then she gets it, she shares it, Dave gets it, and the rest is history. Like, it's exciting to see this come to fruition, and especially for something, from Dave, knowing that, how well this character is received now based on how it was when she first started and when she was first introduced. I'm gonna start with you first, Nilda. When you first, what was it? What was your first official introduction to Ahsoka? Was it the film or was it Clone Wars, the animated show going forward after the actual film, after the animated film?
So it's actually really funny. Somebody asked me this the other day. So I remember back so I graduated in 2006. So in 2010, 11-ish, I remember going over a friend's house and they had like a massive pool table. And we started hearing rumors about like them doing the show, The Clone Wars. So I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I don't want to see animated stuff. It's whatever. So
Uh-huh.
then here comes 2013, and I went back again to the same friend's house, and I see the Clone Wars on their screen. My friend's like, dude, you got to watch it. I know you're a Star Wars fan, but you got to watch this. I know you don't like cartoons, but watch it.
Uh-huh.
I ended up watching the first season, freaking fell in love with Ahsoka. I thought she was awesome. And then started laughing when she was getting so much backlash because everybody
Mhm.
hated her character when she first came out.
Yeah, yeah, they did. It was, it was the jargon, it was the conversation back then, and some of again, it was a character that we had known. And then on top of that, when they introduced her as Anakin's Padawan. Now,
Padawan.
from what we knew from watching, or what we've known from Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones, it's like, well, Anakin never had a Padawan. That was never really mentioned. Like, how would they actually filter that in? Like, how would they make that make sense? And when you watch, like, I think there was a documentary, or short documentary, a couple weeks back, where Dave was talking about him having a conversation with George Lucas about how he wanted to introduce this Padawan, but he also wanted Plo Koon to be the one to have her as a Padawan. And then Lucas was like, nah, she needs to be Anakin's Padawan. And he was like, well, Anakin doesn't have a Padawan. And George Lucas was like, Anakin has a Padawan. And there we go. You know what I mean? So it was like very dismissive, but he wanted to make sure that, again, and you know what kills me about this, and I'm gonna go to you on this really, really quick, Victoria, is that Lucas is the maker. You know what I mean? He's the maker. So he's someone who brought this thing that we love and know, and we've come to love, Star Wars to life. It's his vision, that have made such characters, so accessible and really excited to watch. So who are we to question the maker? I've always wanted to know that. Like, when people are like, well, no, Anakin never had it. Why would they introduce that? Or this character is crazy, like, or this character we don't like. Who are we to really question his vision? You know what I mean? What was your first take on seeing, Ahsoka for the first time?
Absolutely. So my introduction to Ahsoka Tano was opening day of the Clone Wars movie in 2008, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I think last week or very recently. And yeah, I was watching the movie, and then they show us that Anakin has a Padawan. I'm like, wait, that's kind of weird. That's never been, at this point, I've been a Star Wars fan for about 15 years, and
Yeah.
I knew it very well. I was collecting everything, throughout all that time, and watching the movies, and really into like all the other books, and the Clone Wars micro series. And there's no Ahsoka in any of that, so it took a little bit of a time for me to kind of wrap my head around that concept. Like, why isn't she in the movies? Why isn't she in anything else? But the way that it was handled was obviously, when you look at the whole span of her story being told over the course of the Clone Wars, it makes sense why you don't see her in any of the other content up to that point.
Yeah.
So that was my first time, and like you were alluding to, like, nobody really liked Ahsoka like early on. Like, that Clone Wars movie, not a lot of people liked it. So, it definitely took some time for her to grow on people as a character, and for them to get to know her, and for them to see what her journey was going to be. And, over the years, obviously, that has changed quite dramatically.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I think that her story was so well fleshed out when we got to the, animated series, and her role. Like, the beauty of the Clone Wars, I mean, and I always say this, is like how we are able, and for those who didn't really appreciate Revenge of the Sith, or even the prequels in general, how this animated series bridged that gap and started, it humanized certain characters that we weren't really, we only saw from one particular vantage point. But then that allowed us to see characters, totally different, and how well Ahsoka played a role in that. You know what I mean? How she played a role in us really understanding a lot of these characters more. No, that when we think about, like, going into like the animated series, and the evolution of, we see her, the training, and how more interactive she's become, even with Anakin, to where it's more than just a Padawan. It's like basically like a little sister to him, like more so family to him, and that connection that he developed with her, more so that he, again, it's beyond taking a bullet or a saber for someone that you love, but just he wanted to see her succeed. But it's like, yo, when you're a Padawan being trained by the greatest Jedi that ever lived, you know what I mean? And knowing that, the Jedi way was in a sense, passive, where his version of it is passive aggression, like more so aggression than anything, because you have to protect yourself. He's not going to always be there. And seeing how the relationship, the chemistry between both of them, what did you think about that when it came to like the animated series and how that was actually played out and portrayed?
Oh, no, the way that their relationship was, it was definitely like a older brother and younger sister type of ordeal. I want to say like the one episode where he's doing her training and all the clones are surrounding her, and they're all
Yeah.
shooting
Yeah.
her up. He keeps telling her like, "Okay, get up." Like,
Go
basically,
again.
like, like a older brother would tell his little brother if the kids in the yard are picking on him. Like,
Yeah.
get up, fight. And that's what he was doing to her. And I think, he needed that bond. Like, he had that with Obi-Wan, but this was somebody that he saw like an actual family. Like,
Yeah.
it was a sister, and it was, his other heart belonged to her. And they just emotionally attached to each other, which I feel was, if she would have still been around when he was turning to the dark side, I think she could have actually stopped him. And that's my own
Yeah.
opinion. And I've said this
Yeah.
for a very long time, that I've always felt like she could have been the one to have stopped him.
And well, of course, because we are who we are, we're very inquisitive, and we always try to seek out certain things. There are rumors that we might even somewhat get a hint of that, in the series of
Yeah.
what it could have been, going back to that. If they decide to do like the whole worlds between worlds type of situation with her and Anakin. But what what I love and I've always loved about Ahsoka is the simple fact that it wasn't just the level of strength. It wasn't just the basically how in tune she was um, with the force itself, but there was a level of vulnerability. You know what I mean? There was a level of, with her, even with mistakes that were made, it was sort of like, in a sense, we felt that. Like we felt like even mistakes that we've kind of made throughout the years, we saw that through this character, just the growth, her questioning, not only just her place, but also is the Jedi way the right way, especially after everything that happened with, Barris Ophi and Illuminati, stuff like that. And how again, they were so quick to pass judgment, on her. She could have just basically passed it off and be like, oh, you made a mistake. I'll stay, no problem. But now she was like, no. And I feel as though that journey that she went on is what made her stronger. That the mistake, or what presumably what was a mistake that was made by the Jedi, was also, in a sense, a good thing for her, because the journey made her stronger, because she was out there in the world. She, developed in, just relationships and friendships, but also at the same time, uh her being so in touch with people, other personalities, seeing, and being away from the temple and being away from the Jedi doing Order 66 in that way kind of protected her but helped her growth. What did you think about that, Victoria?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the things in life that have the greatest impact on us are the journeys and the adventures that we never anticipated for ourselves, the things that come out of left field, the things that are challenging and difficult
Mhm.
to deal with
Yeah,
at the time. And we when you're dealing with things like that, you never really have the
yeah,
foresight to understand why it's happening to you, or why you're going through this, or why things didn't go as planned. And sometimes our faith in organizations that we're part of, whether that's like our family or friends
yeah,
or places we work, um, we lose our faith in those
yeah.
organizations. And I think all of these things made Ahsoka's journey very relatable,
Mhm.
and made her very intriguing as a character, especially once you saw that growth and you got to see, what decisions she was having to make, stepping away from the Jedi Order. Like, I felt like that was super relatable. And that's not something that we had quite seen with a character in Star Wars up to that point. Everybody usually gets like their happy ending ultimately, except Vader. He doesn't get his happy ending really, but
Yeah, right.
um yeah, so no, I mean, I was really inspired by her, and she's awesome. And I think certainly that aspect of her just having an unexpected course of her story in the Clone Wars, going into Rebels, and we'll see going into Ahsoka, has made her such an inspiring and relatable character. I think that's why a lot of people love her.
Yeah, definitely. And Nelda, what do you think? Like when you look at her journey, and from a young Padawan to being thrusted in so many different things, it's like, you know, even I can almost say, even like, for instance, her near death experiences, but also I when I because going back and watching the Clone Wars and seeing like, her on journeys with both Obi-Wan and Anakin, and just seeing her there, I over the years, I started looking at her less of a Padawan, more of a Jedi, because that's what you saw her as. It's like her growth. She held her own on so many different occasions. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? On so many different occasions. So when you look at this character, like, how would you basically do you see portions of your life in this character based on the growth? Do you see things that kind of mirror your, like, even like personal struggles that you might have actually gone through? Do you see a lot of that in this character?
Oh, 1000%. When got to meet Ashley Eckstein for the first time, the first time I met her, I actually, it's embarrassing, but I started crying when
Mm-hmm.
I met her and was talking to her because I said at the time, that I started watching Clone Wars, I was going through like a really bad patch in my life. And just that character alone, like, just built me up. And it just made me feel like, women out there could be badasses and we could
Yeah.
kick some other dude's ass in Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
But, I don't, as you know, Leo, like I have a lot of tattoos, and
Yeah.
the most significant tattoo I have on my body is literally my Ahsoka piece that I got the girls to sign.
Yeah.
And I see it every day, and it's my own personal, woman badass tattoo. And that's what Ahsoka means to me. It means the epitome of being such a badass female.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And again, the with that and how inspiring she is. The one thing that I want to that I love about this is the simple fact that you can't, and this, as we know that this word often gets thrown around, these particular words when it comes to female characters. One is either Mary Sue, or is that an IP is too woke because they show the strength of a woman. You know what I mean? So with this, there is an undeniable factor that no one can say that Ahsoka is a Mary Sue character, number one, but number two, that it's a woke character, because Clone Wars allowed you to see her growth. Even
Mm-hmm.
like the Ahsoka, just the novel itself, reading the book, you see her growth. The things that and the thing is, what I love about it is they do make the character vulnerable. We do see that. We see that a lot. You know what I mean? Someone basically brought up the Mortis arc, and that arc, again, when we talk about the Mortis arc, that right there was a testament of her strength and her will. You know what I
I
mean?
love that. I love that version of Ahsoka.
Yeah, right.
Looks so badass.
Yeah, like it was that the Mortis arc was probably I mean, literally life after death type of situation when it comes to this character, when it comes to her journey, and also sacrifice, because we got a
Mm-hmm.
chance to see how much, how much care that, Anakin had for his Padawan, how much he basically believed in her. He, again, was willing to sacrifice all for this person, because I even think deep down inside, with his own struggle and the corruption going on inside of him, he was training her to be the better version of him.
Of him.
You feel me? Like the better version of him. Like she has to, and he said it even when we watched Tales of the Jedi, and he said, you have to be better than me. Like you literally have to. You know what I mean? So again, it's like her journey and just following through. We were talking about this. I was talking about this with, the fellas and stuff like this when we did Uncivilized. And we were talking about like her journey from the very beginning and how hated she is, but now how beloved she is all over the world. Like people really, really love this character. And to get a show like this, tomorrow, and with Rosario Dawson playing it, and then you're getting an actress who's vested in this character. Like she's not just playing a role just because, but she's vested. And I like the simple fact that she's paying homage to Ashley as well, and that they both get along. Because I even knew, like, you can see that with Ashley when, she, when the live action came about, it's like I always felt that she might have felt as though she was ready for it. You know what I mean? That she
Yeah.
was ready for that. She could have been the one to play it.
Well,
But
she did talk about it in Celebration. She said that she didn't like want to sit there and actually like say it, but you can tell she
uh,
was just like, guys, you came up with a live action and you haven't even had me and Rosario meet yet. And they
yeah,
ended up meeting like on the set of Ahsoka. They had her come in to do some teaching her like some moves and basically like how, Ahsoka's characters and like her mannerism is.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, like she's always embodied the character.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, when you think about Ahsoka, her voice is always going to be there. Like her
Yeah.
voice, she is, always going to be Ahsoka. And I'm hoping that even with this show, that they sort of like bring her in as something. You know what I mean? I was even thinking like, what they could do, to be quite honest, if they give us like if they give us a flashback as to when she was young, when Ahsoka was a baby, and make her the mom, that would be incredible. Like that will be a passing of the guard, if they did something like that. Not saying that they would, but like that episode we got from Tales of the Jedi when, Ahsoka was very young and her
Oh,
mother, that right there was just breathtaking to see that. I think something like that will be incredible as well. But I'm so glad that they were introduced and that they're helping each other along the way. And I think Rosario was the one who wanted that. She
yeah.
wanted her. She's like, yeah, no, no. I have to talk to her. I have to make sure that I'm doing everything right. The inflection of my voice, the movements, and everything. I want to personify Ahsoka the best way. And I think that this is going to be the best way to actually see it. Victoria, what do you think about that? Do you think that with this, Mr. Perfect, with the mirroring of both these individuals into one character, you think that with the show, we'll see Ashley's influence on Rosario?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, this is going to be an opportunity to have the sole focus on Ahsoka, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got a little bit of her in the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, that was kind of like a snippet. Like, I'm really curious to see this whole series and see what that connection is and see how many qualities from the Clone Wars and Rebels are taken from there and put into this series. It's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think the beauty of it is, just the influences. And again, when I think about it, I'm super duper happy for Dave. On
Mm-hmm.
so many different reasons because um I remember being at, celebrations, and while he was on stage, he was, you know, so overwhelmed with joy when they brought up Ahsoka. They played the trailer and everybody out there was so excited. Like everybody was screaming and just overwhelmed. He got on stage and he saw everybody out there dressed either in Sabine, Ahsoka, Hera, just different characters that he's had his hands on, that he's basically brought here, and the emotions you can see in him. Like he was extremely emotional about it. He even cried on stage slightly a bit, took off his hat. But I'm excited because again, I always say that he is the second coming of George Lucas because of his knowledge. And I think
Yeah.
that, he is, we're seeing like, even he talked about how he's mimicking this story where he's the Padawan. George Lucas was the master and who actually taught him everything that he knows about Star Wars. And that's why, like, when you sit down and you hear Dave, talk about the Lord, explain things, it's like, yo, I can sit down and listen to this dude for hours. Like literally I can sit down and hear him talk about the entire Star Wars trilogy and just everything and him break it down, because he has a perspective that's just uncanny, and I would love to hear that from him. But I'm just excited because again, we know that a lot of influences with Ahsoka and the different, characters, not just Kurosawa, but even, his influences on like animation or animated films and stuff like that, because she is a derivative from certain things. I'm happy to see that that's coming into fruition. Nilda, did you think that, if you think about it, if somebody would have told you a few years back that we're going to get a live action Ahsoka show, would you have believed it?
No, I never thought we were gonna get one. And then when they started hinting it, I remember when they were doing the mock photos of Rosario as
Yeah.
Ahsoka, I was like, "Oh man, this looks good." But before they did her, they started doing what's her face who plays Devers, Miss Marvel,
Oh
or
yeah. Brie Larson. Yeah.
Brie Larson. They started doing photos first of Brie
Mhm.
Larson. And I
Uh-huh.
remember seeing that and I was just like, I can't see her as Ahsoka. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like, if
yeah.
they're gonna bring Brie Larson, I'd rather just have Ashley Eckstein play the live action because she
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
character. But then
Yeah.
when they did the test photos of Rosario, I like lost my mind. And then when they
Mhm.
started talking about it more and more, that photo, when they
Yeah.
started talking about it more and more, I was just like, wow, this is really coming true. And
Mhm.
then as soon as we got to see the trailer, I remember all of you guys were at Star Wars Celebration, and I was at
Yeah.
home living through all you guys' live streams. I remember my homeboy messaged me at like 9 in the morning. My phone was on silent, and then finally I woke up and I looked and I had like 20 missed FaceTime calls. And I finally messaged my friend back and he was like, "The freaking trailer's out." And I
Oh,
was like, I
wow,
hung up on
yeah.
him, started watching it, and I was like in complete tears because I was just like, "Holy crap, this is really happening. Like we're counting down to
Yeah.
this."
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like earlier how you said that, they're finally giving it to us on a Tuesday. I actually was in shock that they weren't going to drop the show on a Tuesday because of the fact that every Tuesday it's considered as Tano Tuesday. So for the fans,
Yeah.
they needed to drop this on a Tuesday, especially for big Ahsoka fanatics.
Yeah. Yeah. And it basically made sense. I think I want to say that might have been the plan all along, but I
I think
think
so too.
it kind of feels like that because maybe, but I also think with the strike and everything that pushed it as well. They just say, yeah, might as well go ahead because again, like they couldn't do a lot of press for this because the actors are
Mm-mm.
on strike. You can't really have the actors really because I don't even think Rosario. I haven't checked her Instagram page, but I don't know if she's been heavily promoting it like she can or because I don't think she can. Am I correct on that?
No, I don't think she's been able to because I think the only fan expo that they did for it was one was in Brazil and I forgot what was the other country, but I haven't seen anything here in the
Mm-hmm.
States. And the only thing she's been promoting is like, reposting anything that people have tagged her, or I think anything that's been pre obligated before the
Yeah.
strike that they're allowed to promote.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's and I, definitely most definitely believe that. So I think that's one of the reasons why she probably couldn't, and a lot of them couldn't, really do too much press on it. So that's why Disney themselves have been putting out trailers, getting people hyped. They had that fan, I think it was like a fan preview, whatever.
Yeah.
So they've done that last week. So a lot of people have been excited about it. Um, Victoria, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask both of y'all this question, but I'm gonna ask Victoria this question first. And Nilda, while I'm talking to her, I need you to get that helmet out and put it on your desk again because I'm gonna ask this question, right? How hype would you guys be to see these in live action? Victoria, come on, how would you?
I would be over the moon to see these in live action. To see any Clone Wars in live action. With Anakin's Clone Wars suit and I don't know if Obi-Wan's in it, but Obi-Wan's Clone Wars suit and just, the clones like going against the droids, like any of that
Yeah.
in there would be tremendous. And
Yeah.
I feel like if we get that tomorrow, I'm gonna be blowing up Victoria's Instagram page. Like, oh my God.
if they show like to see, and here's my thing because I was thinking about this before because this is really crazy. Remember when Hot Toys had teased about 2 years ago, they had teased the Anakin and the Obi-Wan and the armor. You know what I mean? So basically it was the Clone Wars armor. They released Anakin, but they didn't release Obi-Wan. Even during the Obi-Wan show, they did not release that armor until after the show ended, and then they released it. I think that was strategically done for a reason because again, the rumor is now not only is there was a rumor about again the world between worlds, but the possibility of us getting a flashback with both of them in the armor, all three of them together. If we see that, the internet is going to go nuts. I'm telling you. I
I
am.
also feel like the internet's gonna go nuts if we get either a live action Commander Cody, a live action Captain Rex, or me. I will flip everything in this toy room if we get a live action Plo Koon. I'll lose my mind.
Oh, you know what? I did not think about that. if they
Yeah.
give us a flashback to Plo Koon, her as a child and as a as a young Padawan, and Plo Koon bringing her to the temple, I would not be surprised if they no, I would be surprised, super surprised, but I wouldn't even count it out if they did something like that. Like that would be
Hmm.
interesting if they did. And when you talk about Rex, an older version, I think that's bound to happen. I think that has to happen.
Well, Fortnite did release, I think it was Fortnite. Fortnite did release like a picture of a live version of Captain Rex, and it was Tamora Morrison aged and he
Mm,
gained a little bit of weight. So I don't know if we're gonna get old man Rex. So we do. I know for a fact the internet
mm.
will lose their minds.
So, how would you feel? Okay, so what would you think? And I'm gonna bring this up here. If in fact there's a possibility, I'm not saying it will be. Again, I don't want to get everybody hype about this and say that it's going. I don't want you to kill me to say it's going to happen. I'm just saying the possibility of us seeing Barris Ophi.
Oh,
What do
we're
you
gonna see her.
you
We're gonna
think
see
so?
her. Oh, 1000%.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
You, wow.
Would be cool.
You think Victoria? You think so?
I think it'd be really cool. I hope so. I definitely
Yeah.
hope so because I'd love to see exactly where she ended up. I don't know. Good chance, hopefully.
Because I know that there was what was it? And I want to bring this up here because there was talk about what was this? Yeah. So I'm gonna bring this up really quick. There was talk and people were talking about the possibility of this character that they said this could possibly, there was talks about this being Barra Sophie, that it could be her. But then there were also talks about him possibly being Star Killer or this, that, and the third. But then I think that what's his name again?
Jar Jar.
Did you say Jar Jar?
Yes, we did.
um uh uh um
Ezra.
no, he played Star Killer. What's his name again? I keep forgetting the
Oh,
actor's
Sam
name.
Witwer.
Sam Witwer. He talked about how um him and Dave had talked about it, how Dave was like he wanted to somehow bring, he was thinking about bringing Star Killer into the series, but he was
Hmm.
like, that passed, like that moment had passed, and it was something that they had talked about. But, with Sam Witwer, he was like, questioning, well, how could you do something like that? And, he was like, well, we do know that Star Killer at one point after the first game, the second game, he was a clone. So again, that's the possibility, but would that make sense? And I was like, well, maybe not because he's too OP. He's way too OP for the Ahsoka show. So I would not want them to bring that character in. But this character is like really, really it's like the mystery surrounding this character kind of has me going. Also, uh um Shinhati. That's probably one of my most anticipated characters. If for some reason, and don't ask me why, but it is. Like she is like really one of my most anticipated characters like of the show because first of all, she looked like a badass walking down that hallway, just going nuts with the saber. And I was like, yeah, I need to see that. I definitely need to see that on screen. But I think her character is going to be incredible. And I know the actress herself, who is, in herself, she's an activist when it comes to her country and the things that she's seen, but at the same time seeing her get it go in this show, I'm just so excited. I think I'm more excited about the simple fact that the women get to show up and show out, period. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Period. And no one can say that it's forced. It's well deserved. And I'm definitely excited about, seeing this in live action. What I want to ask of you guys, and any of y'all can actually chime in, like when we talk about this show and a lot of people were like, questioning like what would be an important episode of either Clone Wars or Rebels to watch that we or what should we watch and maybe not binge so much, but if you're coming into this now and you're too late to really go back and binge every episode, but certain ones to watch to kind of get connected to what could possibly, or what we could see, out of the Ahsoka show, or just to get connected to Ahsoka in general. What shows or what episodes stand out to you? I'll ask you first, Victoria. Which episodes would you say stand out?
Of Clone Wars?
Either Clone Wars or Rebels, whichever one.
Yeah, I mean, for Clone Wars, the Mortis arc is pretty significant, as you were talking about earlier. Yeah, I guess I would say the first, the movie, where she's introduced, is a pretty pivotal moment, because it's and interesting how Anakin reacts to her. Initially he's like, wait, like, I don't want a Padawan, and he's kind of annoyed with her, but then by the end he's like, oh, I'm warming up to her. Her leaving the order is really significant. And just that whole thing of seeing her lose faith in the Jedi Order and that organization, and basically the people that she's the only family she's really known, I thought was relatable. And so that stood out. And then her coming back in season 7 and seeing where she was throughout Order 66, like those last few episodes of Clone Wars, I think are some of the most important Star Wars that's out there, especially when it comes to Ahsoka. And then getting her in Rebels, of course. I remember when she was introduced in Rebels, as Fulcrum. It was really surprising. I never thought that she was going to be in Rebels. Like, realistically, it wasn't something I thought we would see, but her being in there was super cool. And then just the journey that she had there with coming to the realization that Anakin was alive and now he was Vader and going to confront him. And so, that was really important. The world between worlds, all that was great. And just seeing how she could be brought back, Ahsoka lives, and all of that was really cool. And then, of course, in Mando, just seeing her, like, we had known that she was going to appear at some point, shortly before the season come out. And so, there was a lot of anticipation, like writing on how were they going to handle her? How is she going to come across? What relationship was she going to have with the characters? And so that was great. But I think, seeing her with Luke, like, really, 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 like got me, like, just those little bits of dialogue that she had talking about Anakin, and just seeing her, like, she mentioned she's a family friend, and seeing her with R2, like, reunited, like, that was all, like, really hit me in the feels. So there's a lot of great moments for sure.
So with that being said, Nilda, with that one being said, because she brought up a very interesting point.
I know.
How would you feel, right, if you during this show got a chance to see Ahsoka, Luke, and Anakin? How emotional?
Somebody actually had posted a fan photo of that like 2 days ago on Instagram. And I literally started tearing up when I saw that, and I was like, they can't do this. I'll lose my shit. Like, I already told people yesterday, I'm like, tomorrow, I was like, I'm not gonna wear any makeup watching the show. I'm doing like a pre-watch game party live stream before. And I can't do a live stream while the show's going on, because I don't want anybody seeing me ugly cry, because I already know we're getting 2 episodes. One of them definitely is gonna make me cry really bad. But like Victoria said, when they were both talking to each other, and she was like, you're like your father, it was like, she was reuniting with her friend again. And with every episode that Victoria just said, like, everything was every pivotal point ever with Ahsoka. And I have to say, like, my ultimate favorite episode of Ahsoka is still to this day, and it sucks because it's the saddest episode ever. It's the series finale, where she's in front of all her clone friends and they're all dead. And the face that she just makes, it's when somebody is defeated and they don't know what to do. And just even with the Kevin Kiner score, it was just phenomenal. Like, that whole episode just brought you in your feels, and it just made you think to yourself, like, these people really did have feelings and they lost their friends. And how do you move on from this?
like, how do you move on knowing that, these people, like, you've trained with them, they were in the same room, even training, doing like that whole montage that we actually got from, Tales of the Jedi. Again, you're training with them. The only person that survived with her, was Rex, at that
Yeah.
point. And experiencing that and seeing that, this right here was chilling.
Oh,
It was chilling. This scene right here was chilling. I remember like it was crazy because I remember how even like kind of emotional I got when, they kept calling her commander, or they kept basically, just recognizing her as that. And when she walks in the room and see all of them that, commemorated her tattoos with the helmet and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
that was an emotional period. And then to see this scene right here, like this, I've seen it so many times as an art print, but not even just as an art print, but it's just like, wow, like this moment, and then the moment that follows, with the
Oh,
snow, with
yeah.
Vader walking through, and then seeing both the lightsabers that have actually that he gave her laying there. Yeah.
I'll
This
be honest
scene,
with you,
yeah.
when this when this dropped, my cousin and I watched it live.
Mhm.
And we recorded ourselves while watching this. I gotta find it. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Boogers, tears. My cousin is a grown ass big man next to me crying. It was like watching Moana and Maui, like having the most hysterical crying moment. And you
Yeah.
see me like most of the time in the video, I'm like, I can't look at the screen. And I just could
Yeah.
not stop crying. It was the most emotion I've ever had when it came to anything related to Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Like this last episode, which the episode that because I remember we watched it also. They showed season 7 at Clone War. I mean, at Star Wars Celebration
Mm-hmm.
in at Anaheim, and we were in a room when they showed it. And although people had already seen it, like they went bananas over it. And when they showed this scene, you can hear people in the background like just sniffing, like crying and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, like the impact of this particular episode. Victoria, do you think there might even be a possibility that not really a flashback to this moment, but it's just in the memory that we'll probably even see, not see this, but like, because there's so many dimensions, there's so many different things that we're going to see from Ahsoka, because this is her show. It's not like an episode. It's not like an episode where, we're seeing her in just like one episode of Mando or one episode of the book of Boba Fett. We're not just basically seeing that. We're seeing an entire show. You know what I mean? And she's going to be the focal point. So how much, like, when we know this, I'm sure you want to actually see just the dynamics and the struggle, the pull, just the emotional beats with this character, because we're seeing her. I want to see, do you want to see a different iteration of her, a more fleshed out iteration that we've gotten since the Clone Wars, since Rebels? Like, what are you looking forward to, and how, as far as connecting to this character?
Yeah, certainly. I feel like with Ahsoka, there's a lot that, if you followed Clone Wars and Rebels, and there's a lot that about her and expectations you have to see with her character, and I do hope they tap into that, and I think that they will. As far as like flashbacks, like will they show recreated moments that we saw in Clone Wars? I think that's a good chance if we listen to that recent Anakin dialogue that came out last week. Like I think that's a sign that perhaps there will be actual like this moment right here, at the end of season 7 or other things.
Yeah.
And also, there's people that are probably watching this that haven't seen the Clone Wars, so they need a little exposition, and there will be some of that in there, I believe. And I think a great way to do that is to show some of those flashbacks and show her earlier on in her life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that would definitely connect, everyone to the, season more, even to the character a bit more. And there's a lot, right? Because the thing is, it's like I hear I was watching a few content creators earlier, and they were like, look, this cannot fail. Like, they cannot fail with this show. Like, they cannot fail. They have to get this right. It has to be right. So far, from what we're hearing with some people who have actually gotten to earlier screenings, we've heard nothing but positives. Like, a lot of people were so excited about the first 2 episodes. They loved it. And I think that bodes well what we're going to actually see. My cousin Cam's up in here. I'm surprised that he didn't get a chance to see an earlier screening, because he sees earlier screenings for everything. But yeah, I think that the excitement for this is definitely there. I think it's just more so now, like, what would they basically achieve? What characters will me myself, I definitely want to see, I'm more so anticipating that conversation that she's going to have with Anakin, and if we get like a Force Ghost conversation between them two. Nilda, what are you looking for out of this season? What do you want from this character? What do you want from this season?
So I spoke to one of my friends yesterday who actually went to the premiere and they got to see the 2 episodes. And I said to him, I'm like, don't ruin it for me, but I'm like, how was it? And the only thing he had to say to me was, he goes, Nilda, and he put in big bold letters. He's like, Star Wars is effing back.
Word.
And when he said that, I literally like looked at my phone like this.
Yeah.
And I go, you're not just saying that because I'm a Ahsoka fan. He goes, no, Nilda. He's like, I'm telling you now. He's like, you are going to be the happiest person in the world. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
I'm more anticipating, and we've been saying this on other live streams that I've been on. I'm just anticipating more of the concept about the world beyond world, and just us freaking finally getting a live action Thrawn, even though he looks like Elon Musk.
Words.
Yeah, see, I knew Cam did see it. I saw him posting it, that he saw it.
Punk ass. Like, I swear. I saw it. He said, he said, yo, first 2 episodes, amazing. So punk ass Cam. See, he didn't even tell me.
Yeah, I saw him posting something this morning where he was like, Star Wars is back.
Oh, word. See, I can't wait. We got Miguel in here too. Punk Miguel. We got a war going on right now. I'm pretty surprised he don't have anything coming up. Yeah, so definitely he's in the building. But yeah, I think, with this, the excitement surrounding it, but I know like there's been a lot of reserve with a lot of people, but it's like going into like, what this is really, and this is crazy, and I say this a lot though, because I love, as people can always tell, I love Christmas. Like, I love Christmas. I probably love Christmas just as much as I love Star Wars, and they've been connected for so many years within the last couple of years, like, because we've gotten pretty much different films around the holiday season, around Christmas time, right? So to get this going into the fall season, you know what I mean? And I want this to be good because, again, we know that Dave Filoni is tying all of this into his feature film that he's going to do. He's tying in the whole Filoni verse into a feature film, and it is going to be focused around Thrawn. How did you now? And I'm gonna go back to you on this one, Victoria. What did you feel when you heard and when they made it known that Thrawn was going to be the focus of this season, and also he's going to be the baddie going forward into the cinematic universe? What did you feel about that?
I thought it was really cool. My first memory of Thrawn was, back in, I think it was 1996, Hasbro was doing the Star Wars figures, and they did a Shadows of the Empire line.
Yeah.
And then they followed it up with an expanded universe line, and there was a Thrawn figure in there, and he had, by today's standards, he didn't look anything great, but I hadn't, known anything about him because I hadn't read those books at that point. And I saw that, and I was like, who's this guy? Like, he's interesting. He looks like an Imperial officer, but he's blue and he's got red eyes. Like, what's his story? So then I went and kind of like looked up what his story was, and read up on that series. But didn't really think much of him until Rebels, and then he was just really fantastic as a Star Wars villain. Just his whole psychology and his whole approach, and Just his whole, his abilities to order his, like, it's not like what you usually see in Star Wars when it comes to villains. Yeah, he's looking at like a much bigger game plan. Strategy's a lot different.
How he's able to know his opponent versed on artifacts, like based on artifacts and art and stuff like that. It's just like astounding to see that they bring this character to the screen and to know that it's the same individual that voiced the character in the Clone Wars and Rebels. You know what I mean? That it's simply amazing. Nilda, what did you think? And how did you feel when you heard and knew that Thrawn was going to be the focal point in the show?
Oh, the first thing I did was grab my comic book of Heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be worth so much money. I got so excited.
Right.
And then I like hid it somewhere and now I can't find it. It's in like one of my comic book boxes that I have.
Word.
But no, I was super stoked. And then when they were like naming different names on who was going to play him, I was like, oh, I'm like, you guys can't mess this up. I was like, you guys already messed this up with the Inquisitors. I was like, we can't mess this up with Thrawn.
Yeah.
So as soon as they announced that it was going to be him, like it was already rumors already circulating about it. People were dropping videos of it too. But as soon as they announced it was him, I thought it was great. The only thing I will say is that I feel like his face is a little bit older than what we have as Thrawn. So that's why it throws us off a little bit. But I think overall, it's just going to be such an awesome experience getting to see a live action Thrawn.
Yeah, definitely. And you couldn't like again, Heir to the Empire. When we were coming off, out of Star Wars, and when Heir to the Empire was released, people, again, we hadn't gotten much. I mean, we got like a few novels and a few storylines, but when Heir to the Empire was released, it was like, yo, reading that story and just how cerebral this character was and everything that happened. The sad part of it is the simple fact that we can't, well, you know what? You can never say never. With today's technology, you can never say never. But I was going to say the sad part is the simple fact that we won't get, a Carrie Fisher, Leia story, with Han, and children. Exactly. We can definitely, that can happen. And that's when I think about it, I'm like, the more and more I think about it, is can happen. That gap can be bridged. You know what I mean? So, hopefully we can, but it's so, I am elated, to actually see this on the screen and just kind of just soak it all in. We're counting down. We're almost at that hour mark. Quick thing, anything you want to actually say about this season and actually what we're going to see tomorrow, and what you're excited for and what you're going to be doing tomorrow, to kind of get yourself prepped and ready for it. Victoria, go.
I'm just thinking a lot about Ahsoka, and I'm kind of going around my room and looking at a little bit more at my Ahsoka collectibles, and I'm just thinking about that we have this next month to look forward to of a brand new era of Star Wars, a new Ahsoka series that focuses on this character that we've all come to love over the last 15 years, and seeing where that goes.
Yeah, definitely. Nilda, your thoughts. What are you going to be doing tomorrow? Is it going to be like, I mean, because you work tomorrow, right?
Yeah, so I have to be up tomorrow at 5 a.m., but I should be out of work by 4.
Gotcha.
Tomorrow is gonna be all Ahsoka. Like I'm wearing my customized Ahsoka sneakers with my scrubs. I'm bringing my Loungefly Ahsoka bag. My Her Universe Ahsoka, jersey, jacket. And then I'm gonna do a 1-hour watch party leading up to Ahsoka. And then afterwards, I'm turning off my cell phone. I don't want no one bothering me. My boyfriend's going to be doing like his live stream in the living room. And I told him, I said, I'm going to lock myself in the room. Do not come in there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'll come out when it's okay for you to come out.
Definitely. And before we dip out, I want to bring this up, ladies, and I need you to come, just remember this. I want y'all to remember this and look at this, because this is something that we could hear about tonight going into tomorrow, right? So I just want you to be prepared for this, right? Y'all ready? You ready?
Oh boy.
So there's going to be some Ahsoka stuff.
Really, tonight?
Possibly,
Dude,
because
my
the
phone's
show's
gonna go off at
tomorrow.
midnight.
The show is
Oh,
tomorrow. So I'm not saying that they will, but
I already know.
it's
They're gonna do
possible.
a freaking chopper. They're gonna do this.
It's
This.
possible. It is possible. It is definitely possible that we could see some figures, or at least one or two. And I know we're going to see another Ahsoka. We're going to see a couple of Ahsokas from this series. We're going to see that. But again, preview Ahsoka 6 scale figures from Hot Toys is coming. So I'm just saying, you might wake up to some noise tomorrow.
No, I'm gonna set up my alarm in an hour to keep looking at my phone.
Yeah, it's coming. It's definitely coming. So I hope everybody out there is ready for it. It's going to be incredible. I'm excited about it. Hope you guys are. So yeah, there we go, man. Listen, thank you guys for coming in. Like I said, it's the episode of The Corner. I couldn't think of anyone else better to have on the show but you both, because you both kill it. Your content is incredible. Nilda, let people know what they can expect from you coming forward and going forward.
I'm gonna be going extremely broke if they release a whole bunch of Ahsoka figures. Recently, right now, I just got a brand new job, so I haven't been able to like drop any videos. But as soon as the show drops, I'm probably gonna be doing like recap shows of the Ahsoka series with my channel that I have, and then with the one that I have with my other group of friends.
Yeah.
But just overall, I'm just excited for this, and I'm ready for this journey. I'm ready for something that we've all been waiting for now for a year. So it's finally here. And
Yeah,
I'm like
definitely.
fighting back the tears because I know I'm gonna be so emotional tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be like a extra like emotional time tomorrow for a lot of people. So again, if you guys out there haven't already, Appetite for Collectibles on YouTube, make sure you go over there, subscribe, hit the like button on all the actual content you see over there. Also, make sure you hit the like button on this video as well, or this live stream. Make sure you've done so. So thank you again for being here. I'll be watching tomorrow, as always, supporting as always do. Victoria, what can we expect from you coming up?
Absolutely. So first of all, Leo, thank you for having me on the show this evening. It's been fun talking to you this evening, and Nilda, great being with you too. Thanks for hanging out with us. And so the channel is Victoria's Cantina on YouTube. We celebrated our 10th anniversary this year. We got the social hour, Cantina social hour every Friday. It's our live stream this weekend. This Friday we have Aries 6 scale Cantina going to be with us. So it should be fun. And if they do announce any of those Ahsoka Hot Toys figures, we'll definitely be talking about it then. And
Hell yeah.
So definitely check us out. And thanks to everybody in the chat who's been hanging out with us and watching us over the last hour. It's been a lot of fun.
Definitely. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you for being here as always, Victoria. Thank you guys for basically watching us. Again, this is a special episode of The Corner, just highlighting everything that you need to know about Ahsoka, just to prepare you for tomorrow. Again, let me know what you think in the comments after we get done. Also tomorrow, it's going to be interesting to hear and just go through social media and see what people are talking about, but I can't wait to see it. But again, thank you so much for being with us. I have to get these two off the bed because they've been gracious enough to be with me this late. And hey, you got to honor the women, definitely. But again, here's to a successful show tomorrow. Ahsoka all day, every day. I cannot wait. We are out. Love y'all. Until the next time, we will be out. Peace.